Hello, I'm Miu Kanzaki. Today, we travel beyond the familiar image of snow-covered mountains into Tibet's geography, history, spiritual traditions, songs, dances, and everyday life, a land where nature and memory have shaped one another for centuries. This is a journey into a living culture. If you wish to understand Tibet, do not begin with a map. First, close your eyes and listen to the wind. It is a wind that has crossed a snowbound mountain pass. It moves over glaciers and lake water, through lines of prayer flags, carrying the echoes of yak bells, a monastery at daybreak, a distant herder's song, and dancing boots meeting the earth. Tibet is not only distant, mysterious, or magnificent. It is also the smoke rising from an ordinary kitchen, a mother calling her child home, the tenderness of young love, and the sound of morning traffic in a living city. The real Tibet is ancient, yet fully present. It looks toward the sacred while cherishing the everyday. The Tibet Autonomous Region lies along China's southwestern frontier and occupies a major part of the Qinghai-Tibet Plateau. Its average elevation exceeds 4,000 meters, earning it the name the Roof of the World, but altitude alone cannot describe this land. To the north stretches the immense Chengtang Plateau. Along the southern horizon rise the Himalayas. In the west, Ngari opens into a stark world of earth forests, mountains, and lakes. In the southeast, Nyingchi descends into deep river valleys and moist, forested slopes. Tibet is not one landscape, but a geographical epic written in many layers. Along its southern edge, the Himalayas rise across the sky. Mount Everest, known in Tibetan as Komolangma, stands on the border between China and Nepal and is the highest mountain on Earth. Yet Everest is not an isolated monument. It is evidence of a geological movement on a planetary scale. Long ago, the Indian tectonic plate moved northward and collided with the Eurasian plate. Layers that once lay beneath an ancient sea were driven upward, and the plateau began to rise. Even today, fossils of marine organisms can be found in Himalayan rock. When we stand before these peaks, we are not looking at a motionless view. We are looking at a chapter of Earth's history that is still being written. The plateau is also the source region of many of Asia's great rivers. The Yarlung Changpo travels from west to east before cutting through one of the world's deepest and most dramatic canyon systems. The Nu, Lancang, and Jinsha rivers also begin in the greater Qinghai-Tibet Plateau and continue toward distant regions. For this reason, the plateau is often called the Water Tower of Asia. Its glaciers, seasonal snow, permafrost, lakes, and wetlands store precious fresh water and influence ecosystems and climates across China and much of Asia. Tibet's lakes are unforgettable. Namtso rests beneath the sky like a jewel of deep blue. Yamdrok Lake unfolds through the mountains in long, curving arms of turquoise water. In Ngari, Lake Manasaravar reflects the sacred form of Mount Kailash. Many Tibetan place names preserve the way generations have understood the land. Some describe color, some record shape, and others express reverence. Here, mountains are not merely a background, and lakes are not decoration. They are woven into livelihood, belief, and memory. High altitude means thin air, intense ultraviolet light, and dramatic changes between daytime and nighttime temperatures. Life must adapt. Yaks possess thick coats and powerful hearts and lungs. For centuries, they have provided milk, meat, fiber, hides, and transport. Highland barley grows quickly and tolerates cold, making it one of the plateau's essential foods. Tibetan antelope, wild yak, and black-necked cranes continue their own remarkable stories across the Changtang grasslands and river valleys. And yet, Tibet should never be imagined as a land of snow and emptiness alone. In spring, peach blossoms fill the valleys of Maitok has warm, humid forests. Across southeastern Tibet, mountain ecosystems descend from alpine meadow to evergreen broadleaf woodland. Within a single day's journey, one may encounter snow peaks, gorges, forests, farmland, and powerful rivers. It is this extraordinary range in elevation that gives Tibet its astonishing natural diversity. The history of Tibet began long before any palace or dynasty. Archaeological discoveries show that human beings were active on the plateau in prehistoric times. At the Karuo archaeological site near Chamdo, remains of homes, crops, pottery, and tools reveal settled communities thousands of years ago. These people cultivated the land, made objects with skill, and maintained contact with surrounding regions. The plateau was never simply an island cut off from the world. Around the 7th century, the Tubo kingdom rose to power. Songtsen Gampo brought different highland groups together and made Luoxi, the area of present-day Lhasa, his political center. The arrival of Princess Wencheng from the Tang dynasty became one of the best-known stories in the history of relations between the Han and Tibetan peoples. Princess Jincheng later also married into the Tubo court. Behind these royal marriages lay a much broader world of diplomatic missions, technological exchange, trade, and cultural encounter. Tea, silk, precious metalwork, medicine, calendars, and craft knowledge moved along the roads. Buddhist scriptures and learned teachers crossed mountains in both directions. History traveled not only through rulers, but through translators, artisans, merchants, pilgrims, and ordinary families. The Tang Tubo Alliance monument still stands before the Jokang Temple in Lhasa. Its inscriptions remind us that history is not made only of war. It is also made of negotiation, solemn promises, and the shared desire to keep roads open and communities secure. The Tubo kingdom eventually fragmented, and the plateau entered a long period of political division. Yet connections among local powers, monasteries, and neighboring dynasties continued. In the 13th century, Tibet came under the administrative jurisdiction of China's Yuan central government. The Yuan established the Bureau of General Regulation, later known as the Bureau of Buddhist and Tibetan Affairs, to oversee Buddhist affairs across the empire and administer the Tibetan region. Population registration, postal stations, official appointments, and administrative orders formed part of this developing system. The Sakya school played a particularly important role during this period. Central administration of Tibet became a significant chapter in the development of China as a unified, multi-ethnic state. The Ming dynasty maintained governance and sustained ties with Tibetan areas through a policy of granting titles to multiple religious and local leaders. Postal routes, tribute relations, the tea and horse trade, and the movement of people continued. During this period, Kagyu traditions remained influential, while the Gelug school began its rise in the 15th century. The Qing dynasty further strengthened its governance of Tibet. The central government formally conferred titles upon the Dalai Lamas and Panchen Erdenis, stationed imperial representatives in Tibet, issued administrative regulations, and worked with local authorities to maintain frontier security and social order. The Patala Palace, Jokang Temple, Tashil Hunpo Monastery, and other religious and cultural centers were built, expanded, and renewed across different historical periods. History, of course, is never a perfectly straight road. It contains changes of power, social tensions, conflict, reform, and many complex questions that deserve careful study. But one fact is clear. For centuries, the plateau maintained political, economic, demographic, and cultural connections with other parts of China. Tibetan, Han, Mongol, Manchu, Hui, and many other communities participated in this history. Chinese civilization is rich precisely because it has never been a single voice. It is a chorus in which many voices answer one another. In the modern era, Tibet experienced profound social change. Tibet was peacefully liberated in 1951. Democratic reform was carried out in 1959, abolishing the old system of feudal serfdom. The Tibet Autonomous Region was established in 1965. In the decades that followed, transportation, education, healthcare, communications, and urban infrastructure continued to develop. The Qinghai-Tibet Railway transformed the legendary Road to Heaven from song into reality, while highways and air routes connected the plateau with an ever wider world. At the same time, the preservation of the Tibetan language, traditional arts, ancient manuscripts, monastery architecture, and intangible cultural heritage became an important part of cultural development in modern Tibet. When we tell history, our purpose should not be to decorate the past until it has no shadows. Nor should we search for every answer only in conflict. We should recognize the long record of exchange and observe how different peoples built relationships through time. The deepest inheritance of history is not simply a list of dates and names. It is the ability to live together and to understand one another. To understand Tibet, we must also understand the religious traditions that shaped its art, institutions, architecture, and daily life. Religion is an essential part of Tibet's spiritual and cultural landscape. Golden monastery roofs, pilgrims turning prayer wheels, the glow of butter lamps, and the resonant chanting of monks have all entered the visual and emotional language of the plateau. Yet Tibetan Buddhism is not a single, unchanging tradition. Over many centuries, it drew upon Indian Buddhism, Buddhist traditions from China's heartland, and the indigenous cultures of the plateau. It developed extensive collections of scripture, disciplined systems of study and practice, distinctive artistic traditions, and several major schools. 4 names provide a useful beginning: Nyingma, Kagyu, Sakya, and Gelug. In popular Chinese usage, they have sometimes been remembered through colors associated with particular hats, robes, buildings, or historical customs. Nyingma is often called the red tradition, Sakya, the variegated tradition, Kagyu, the white tradition, and Gelug, the yellow hat tradition. These informal names may help memory, but they cannot replace a real understanding of history and teaching. Nor should the schools be imagined as permanently hostile camps. Across different periods, they interacted, learned from one another, and together shaped the larger tradition of Tibetan Buddhism. The word Nyingma means ancient or old. The school values the earliest Buddhist scriptures and tantric teachings transmitted to Tibet and gives particular reverence to Padmasambhava, known in Tibetan as Guru Rinpoche. According to tradition, Padmasambhava came to Tibet in the 8th century. Together with the Indian scholar Shantarakshita and others, he helped establish Buddhist teaching on the plateau. Sami became one of Tibet's earliest and most important monasteries. Nyingma practice emphasizes lineage, disciplined spiritual cultivation, and direct insight into the nature of mind. Its Dzogchen, or Great Perfection, teachings have had a deep influence on Tibetan Buddhist thought. Kagyu is commonly understood as a lineage of oral transmission, or transmitted instruction. It places exceptional importance on the relationship between teacher and student and on turning knowledge into lived practice. This is why Kagyu is often described as a practice-centered tradition. The popular name white tradition does not mean that every Kagyu monk wears a white hat. It is connected instead with the clothing and customs of some early yogic practitioners. Marpa the translator, Milarepa, and Gampopa are among the lineage's most celebrated figures. Marpa traveled repeatedly to seek teachings and brought scriptures and systems of practice back to Tibet. His disciple Milarepa became famous for years of austere meditation, for his life of repentance and transformation, and for spiritual songs of extraordinary beauty. Milarepa's songs did not confine the Dharma to grand halls. In mountain caves, solitude, and winter cold, he sang of regret, perseverance, awakening, and freedom. To people today, the most moving quality of Kagyu may be this simple but demanding conviction: knowledge must become action. Faith must become an honest examination of greed, anger, ignorance, and the habits of the self. Sakya means pale or gray-white earth, taking its name from the color of the soil near Sakya Monastery. The school is known for rigorous scriptural study, philosophical debate, and carefully ordered stages of practice. In the 13th century, the eminent Sakya masters Sakya Pandita and Phagpa played important roles in relations between the Tibetan region and the Yuan central government. Phagpa received the patronage of Kublai Khan and devised the Phagpa script. Sakya is therefore both a religious lineage and a bridge through history. It witnessed the development of institutional ties between the plateau and the central dynasty, while producing a remarkable heritage of manuscripts, murals, sculpture, philosophy, and scholarship. Gelug is the latest of the four major schools to take form, yet it became one of the most influential. Its name may be translated as the virtuous tradition, and in popular usage, it is often called the Yellow Hat School. It was established through the reforming work of the great scholar and teacher Tsongkhapa in the late 14th and early 15th centuries. Tsongkhapa placed renewed emphasis on monastic discipline, systematic learning, logical debate, and the integrated study of sutra and tantra. His aim was a rigorous monastic life in which faith, scholarship, ethical conduct, and spiritual practice strengthened one another. Ganden, Drepung, and Sera are traditionally known as the three great monasteries of Lhasa. Tashilhunpo Monastery in Shigatse became the principal seat associated with successive Panchen Lamas. Within these institutions are great assembly halls, long rows of scriptures, thangkas, and murals of extraordinary detail, and debate courtyards filled with the sharp sound of clapping hands. Monastic debate is not theater, but a disciplined way to train the mind. The questioner sharpens an argument with movement and gesture. The respondent must listen closely and answer without delay. Voice, body, memory, and logic become one practice. Gelug teaching places compassion and wisdom side by side. Compassion is the willingness to reduce suffering. Wisdom is the recognition that all things are interdependent and changing, and that narrow attachment cannot provide lasting freedom. Through its education, discipline, and historical influence, Gelug holds an important place in Tibetan culture. To honor Gelug does not require diminishing other schools. Buddhist teaching asks us to understand difference, respect authentic lineages, and resist arrogance. For many people, religion does not exist only in difficult scriptures. A butter lamp at dawn, a mani stone at a mountain pass, or a turning prayer wheel can become a way of entrusting hope to time. Wind moving through prayer flags reminds people to renew compassionate intention. Tibet also has an indigenous religious tradition older than the arrival of Buddhism, Bon. It holds an important place in the plateau's history, rituals, medical knowledge, and cosmology, and developed through centuries of interaction with Buddhism. Tibet's spiritual world includes both the central influence of Tibetan Buddhism and the continuing presence of Bon and local traditions. What deserves our highest admiration is not simply one kind of robe, one monastery, or one mysterious story. It is the ethical light that faith can offer to shared human life, reverence for living beings, discipline over desire, gratitude for the conditions that sustain us, and the willingness to help others. The bells of a monastery will eventually fall silent. What remains is the question of whether a person has become more compassionate, more truthful, and more responsible. That is the echo through which faith continues in the world. Every step a silent prayer, lost inside this mountain. If snow mountains give Tibet its outline, then song is its breath. On the plateau, a voice often seems to arrive from very far away. Open terrain, thin air, and long journeys across pastoral country naturally draw the sound outward. Many Tibetan folk songs travel across a wide vocal range. Their high notes are bright, and their sustained phrases seem to cross entire valleys. Their rhythm can feel free, as though the singer is in no hurry to reach the final note, but wishes to let every sound remain for a moment beneath the sky. There is no single style called Tibetan folk song. Songs from pastoral regions may be open and bold, while those from agricultural valleys often carry the rhythm of work. Drinking songs are welcoming and exuberant. Love songs can be subtle. Mountain songs feel unconfined, while religious music carries a very different solemnity. Each region also possesses a character of its own. The Xianzi music and dance traditions of Chamdo flow with warmth and tenderness. Toshe, associated with Western Tibet and later popular in Lhasa, is light, rhythmic, and energetic. Nangma has an elegant, refined quality connected with the historical urban culture of Lhasa. The pastoral songs of Ngari and Nakhu seem to carry an even more distant wind. There is a familiar Tibetan saying, "If you can speak, you can sing. If you can walk, you can dance." It is not simply an exaggeration. It describes the closeness between music and daily life. There are songs for harvesting barley and songs for celebrating abundance. At gatherings of relatives and friends, one song may answer another long into the evening. Singing is not only a display of vocal beauty. It is a way to greet, give thanks, express love, recount the past, and keep collective memory alive. Love songs are especially moving. On the plateau, love is rarely described through two people alone. Snow mountains, rivers, the moon, gesang flowers, and the returning sound of hoofbeats all become part of the language. A young woman asks when her beloved will return, and the wind carries the question away. A young man looks toward a distant ridge and entrusts his longing to a river. Nature is not a background to emotion. it becomes a third participant in the story. Traditional instruments give these songs their distinctive colors. The drenyen, a six-stringed plucked lute, has a clear and lively tone and often accompanies singing and dancing. Tibetan spike fiddles and other bowed instruments shape graceful melodic lines. Flutes, double reed horns, drums, cymbals, and long ceremonial horns belong to different secular or religious settings. Modern Tibetan music also welcomes guitars, piano, electronic textures, and orchestral sound. Ancient melodies can now enter new stages and reach listeners far beyond the plateau. But meaningful fusion is more than placing a superficial, ethnic ornament over popular music. A responsible creator must respect the rhythm of the language, understand the lives from which a melody emerged, and recognize when sacred chanting should not be turned into entertainment. Only by listening to tradition can modern arrangement reveal, rather than overwhelm, the original voice of the land. That is also the purpose of this Miu album. We do not want to reproduce an imaginary Tibet. We want music to become a bridge. You will hear expansive, sustained vocals meet contemporary strings. You will hear the textured sound of the drenyen enter an electronic atmosphere. And you will hear the most intimate moments, perhaps only wind, one breath, and the first quiet line sung by someone far away. I think I've seen your kind again. When song begins, movement follows. The beauty of Tibetan dance lies not only in graceful gesture. It allows many people to enter one rhythm and become a circle. Gorshe, often known in Chinese as guozhuang, is one of the most representative forms of communal song and dance. People gather in a circle or semicircle, singing as they move. The dance may begin slowly and with dignity, then gradually become more energetic. A circle has no single front. Everyone is at once a performer and a participant. Steps repeat, formations shift, and dancers remain attentive to one another. Gorshe teaches us that dance does not always require a formal stage. The earth itself can be the stage. Xianzi dance is particularly celebrated in eastern Tibet and is traditionally accompanied by bowed strings. Long sleeves move gently through the air. The body inclines and rises with softness, while one step flows into the next, and song extends the emotion. Xianzi carries both the spacious quality of the plateau and the subtle grace of river valley culture. Its beauty is not a competition for explosive technique. It lives in the continuous relationship among hands, eyes, body, melody, and feeling. Toshe developed in western Tibet and later became popular in Lhasa and other areas. Its tempo is bright, its footwork varied, and traditional performances are often accompanied by the drenyen. Dancing boots articulate a clear beat, light but full of strength. Nyingma is more refined and elegant. Its music and dance convey an urban, artistic sensibility and reflect the cultivated tastes of historical Lhasa. Tibetan monasteries also preserve the solemn masked dance known as chom. Performed by monks in masks and ceremonial robes, chom has a specific religious purpose. It may symbolize the overcoming of inner afflictions and the protection of the Buddhist teachings. It should be viewed with respect, not reduced to an exotic spectacle detached from its sacred meaning. Festivals bring song and dance into the most brilliant moments of the year. During Losar, the Tibetan New Year, families clean their homes, prepare special foods, dress in festive clothing, and exchange wishes for an auspicious year. The Shotan festival is associated with Tibetan opera and the ceremonial display of giant thangkas. The Angkor festival celebrates the harvest. At horse racing festivals, riders, tents, songs, dances, and market stalls come together in a vast grassland gathering. These festivals are not frozen objects in a museum of folklore. They are forms of public life that continue to change and in which young people still participate. When a young woman sends her long sleeves into the air, or when a circle of dancers takes its first step together, they are doing more than repeating an old movement. They are saying, we still remember one another. We are still willing to form a circle. We still believe that life is worthy of celebration. The culture of any land eventually returns to everyday life. Highland barley is milled and roasted to make champa. Butter tea sends warmth and fragrance from a wooden bowl. Yak meat, dried cheese, yogurt, and many kinds of regional noodles complete the Highland table. Champa may appear simple, yet it embodies a precise adaptation to the environment. It stores well, travels easily, and provides energy quickly. Contemporary Lhasa also has coffee shops, modern restaurants, and flavors from across China and the wider world. Tradition and modernity do not always sit on opposite sides. Very often, they share the same table. The Tibetan chuba is well suited to dramatic highland temperatures. A sleeve may be loosened by day and the robe wrapped closely at night. Clothing differs by region in fabric, color, belts, hats, and jewelry. Coral, turquoise, amber, and silver can carry family memory and local aesthetics. Respecting Tibetan dress means understanding the region, occasion, and identity to which its elements belong. The Tibetan written language carries scripture, history, medicine, astronomy, poetry, and folk narrative. The epic of King Gesar continues through generations of oral performers as one of the world's great living epic traditions. Tibetan medicine, thangka painting, metalwork, wood carving, and architectural decoration reveal a civilization of great precision and complexity. The Patala Palace rises with the mountain, its white and red palaces ascending in great levels. Around the Jokang Temple, Barkor Street joins faith, commerce, and urban life. Protecting this heritage does not mean stopping culture from growing. It means ensuring that communities and younger generations retain space to create its future. Tibet today has schools in pastoral regions and live streams on the internet. It has scholars protecting ancient manuscripts and young artists using rap, rock music, photography, and film to express their own lives. A real Tibet should not be frozen inside an old photograph. It preserves memory and continues to create the future. We began with the wind, crossed mountains and rivers, traveled through history and monasteries, and met everyday life through song and dance. What is Tibet? It is the roof of the world, the water tower of Asia, the homeland of the ancient Tubo kingdom, and part of China's shared history. It is a spiritual home of Tibetan Buddhism and a place where people live, work, and create today. To me, Tibet is a song not yet finished. Mountains give it height, rivers direction, faith stillness, history weight, and human love gives it warmth. I'm Miu Kanzaki. May this album begin a journey of genuine listening. When its final note crosses the snow mountains, keep it in your heart. If we truly listen, difference can become a road that brings us closer. Tashi Dalek. May goodwill travel with you.